Hi folks, my name is Haris. I'm a senior engineer at Shopify. In this video, I want to talk to you about why I think JavaScript should be the first programming language you learn. Alright, so let's say you're getting started in the world of tech. You've dabbled in some HTML and CSS, you've learned a little bit online, and you can build a basic website. And now you're thinking to yourself, what do I need to do next? What programming language shall I invest my time into to take it to the next level? There's obviously a number of programming languages to choose from, and I genuinely think that JavaScript is the correct language to pick today. Now, before we talk about why, there's a number of things to keep in mind. Firstly, it's important not to worry at all about the language's performance or how new a language is this early on. There's no such thing as the best programming language. All languages have pros and cons, and it's entirely dependent on the context in which a language is used that allows you to figure out whether or not it's the right one for the job. So with that said, I'm not recommending JavaScript because I think it's the best programming language or it's the fastest. Those are completely irrelevant. There's an entire set of reasons why I think JavaScript should be the language to go with, and let's talk about those now. So the first thing to talk about is the language's flexibility. What I mean by that is the variety of different contexts in which it can be used. You can use JavaScript to enhance a website's interactivity, add delight, or to build a complex web app. All of these fall under the umbrella of front-end development. You can even use JavaScript to build backends for your software using Node.js. There's also a number of different tools that allow you to use JavaScript to build desktop and mobile apps, and we'll talk about those in a bit. The next reason is the simplicity in tooling. Certain programming languages have a fair number of steps and can take quite a little bit of time to get things up and running on your computer before you can even start writing your first program. Fortunately, with JavaScript, there's really not a lot of setup. If you create a new HTML document, all you need to do is add some basic script tags and start writing JavaScript between those tags. If you just want to play around a little bit, you can open up a browser's developer console window and write some JavaScript there. There's also tools like CodePen, which are web browser-based tools, sandbox-style environments that allow you to write HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to create prototypes and demos. Once you're feeling pretty comfortable with that, there's a variety of different tools that exist to help you build slightly more complex tooling setups to build more complex apps. On a quick note, anything I talk about in this video or anything that I recommend, I'm going to make sure to link all of those in the description down below, so make sure to check that out. The next thing to talk about is resources. A lot of the big popular languages have a ton of resources, both available online and offline, to help you learn them. JavaScript is no exception. There's a huge amount of learning material for JavaScript. Whether that's when you're just getting started and you need some introductory fundamental material, or you really want to dig deep into how JavaScript works behind the scenes, or you want to use one of the frameworks that exist for the JavaScript ecosystem to take your app development skills to the next level. The JavaScript community also has a number of really high quality video series to help you dive deeper into the world of JavaScript. I'll make sure to link a couple of my favorites down below. For those who prefer a more class-based approach, JavaScript is a pretty big focus at a number of different boot camps around the world, and it's also now being taught at a number of different colleges and universities. So there's a ton of opportunity and a ton of different types of resources that exist to help you learn JavaScript today. It's important to remember that not everyone learns the same way. We all have our unique styles of learning and our ideal preference for the types of material that we use. Some folks prefer video content, some folks prefer tutorials, some folks prefer in-person lessons. There's no right or wrong way, there's no better or worse option in general, it's very dependent on the individual person. So figure out what works best for you and find the appropriate JavaScript resources for that specific style of learning. thing to consider is how future-proof a language is. JavaScript's been gaining a ton of momentum for the past decade, and I think that it's going to continue to do so moving forward. It'll continue to play a huge role in a variety of different companies, in a variety of different contexts, so I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Last but not least, it's important to talk about the opportunities that exist for a developer who knows JavaScript in the job market. Client development is a huge realm that includes web interactivity, adding delight, animations, UX work, or building web apps. You can also opt for a more back-end role if you're interested in integrating with data, focusing on things like security and performance. You can also explore the world of tooling, where you'd be building tools to help other developers work better, work faster, and work more efficiently. Shopify, for example, has an entire team dedicated to just building awesome tools for the other developers at the company. JavaScript's also gained some momentum in the game development industry. You can use JS to build some pretty cool and nifty games. I'll make sure to link a whole bunch of them down below. And finally, there's a number of frameworks and tools that exist to help you build desktop and mobile apps. The most popular amongst these days is one called React Native that allows you to build native iOS and Android apps, web apps, and also desktop apps for OS X and Windows. I'm personally a huge fan of the React Native framework. I've been using it at Shopify for more than 2 years now. I'll make sure to do a number of videos focused on React Native in the future. So that's it. Those are the reasons why I think JavaScript should be the first programming language you decide to learn. If you've already been learning a different programming language for the last number of months, I'm not recommending you shut that down and switch on over to JavaScript. A lot of the concepts that exist in programming languages are shared across different ones. So once you've learned your first programming language, it becomes a lot easier to learn your second and your third. So continue doing what you've already been doing and don't worry about JavaScript just yet, and maybe visit it sometime in the future. Once again, it's important to remember that there's no such thing as the best programming language. I just personally think that JavaScript has a number of really awesome benefits that can really help a junior developer or someone super new to the industry just getting started. If you found this video useful, hit that like button, subscribe for more content just like this, check out the description below for links, resources, and recommendations for all the stuff that we spoke about in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.